Hello and welcome back to the Bygone Times. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to travel back once again to the late 1800s or early 1900s and take a look at this Abalone polished inkwell. Alright, so we'll go over quickly what abalone is. Abalone is a marine mollusk, which can be anywhere from small to very large. Other common names are ear shells, sea ears, and sometimes muttonfish or mutton shells, mostly in Australia for that. Ormer in the United Kingdom. Perlamone in South Africa, and Pawa, I think, in New Zealand. There are many species of abalone, but basically they're shells with this, or how we see them, are shells with this low spiral structure and open on the bottom, as well as respiratory holes, pores on the outer edge of the shells. So these are found, let's see, where are these found? They're found pretty much around the world, and along the coastal waters everywhere except for a few places like the Pacific coast of South America, the Atlantic coast of North America, and then the two Arctic regions, Arctic and Antarctica. So they've, shells are beautiful in general, and humans have always liked to pick up shells and make jewelry. You can see some pores there out of them and so forth. And so, it makes sense that we used shells for practical matters all across our lives as the years went by. So in the 1800s and early 1900s, people were still writing with dip pens, brushes, and even quills, so feathers of some sort. And they needed inkwells for that purpose, and so they would hold their ink in wells, and this is a shell that was modified for that purpose. So this particular abalone shell, if we turn it over, we can see the thick iridescent lining that we're kind of used to with these sorts of shellfish. And then this one has been fitted with a glass well, and the piece that was cut out, or a piece similar to the piece that was cut out, has been attached with this little brass-like hinge. And so this can sit on a desk. The hinge opens up, the lid opens up like so, and then you would pour your ink into here and it would be ready to write. This does come out, looks like a little tiny shot glass, nice and thick glass here. And so you would have your ink here, you would have your dip pen or your quill or your brush. Open it up, get your ink and write with it on your parchment. Maybe you can just about see old Fezziwig or Scrooge sitting at a desk on a candlelit night writing numbers on a ledger. This one is in pretty nice shape. There's no big cracks or big chips or anything out of it, and you can see the shell structure very nice all throughout. The shell structure is open, which is what you would expect from the abalone, and as we've seen, the glass is in nice shape. Everything is is good. There might be just a little bit of an imperfection there, but some of that is in the shell, the structure itself. You can probably see a little bit of writing here. So this has had an inscription on it. Most of it's faded away, so I can't really see what that says. That could be CAL period for California. It could be something else. But there has been some inscription there. That would be pretty neat to see what that was, but we don't have that luxury at this point. So this is definitely an Inkwell, so made for some utility. But these sorts of items were also sold as souvenirs, and you can find shells that are not made into inkwells depending on the size and the shape, and sometimes they'll have inscriptions on them carved into them, or place names carved into them, you know, whatever, Virginia Beach or Miami or New York City or whatever you might find, wherever you might find a kind of a touristy place. This probably was made as a souvenir. So you could go if you're on a trip, maybe you were traveling for business or for a vacation, and you went to a thrift shop near the beach or something. They would have these sorts of shell products, which you still see today. You may not find inkwells today, but you find similar type things. And with these pores here extending around the side, you could actually, if you wanted, put your thin dip pens or quill ends inside of there. This looks very little used to me. It's just you know, hasn't had much handling over the years. These are collectible. People like them because they're pretty, and people also like them because they are antiques and harken back to the bygone times of the days when we actually did write with fixed ink instead of you know, fountain pens or whatever. So you'll often find these on eBay or other places in the $40 to $75 range. You might find them less expensive at a thrift sale or flea market or something, and more expensive if you have a larger piece or a very distinctive inscription, or you know, maybe some provenance that you know makes it more important, or some fancy carvings or so forth. But you know, that's kind of the general range. So anyway, there we have this kind of fancy, sparkly, shiny, polished abalone inkwell from roughly the Victorian era. It's a pretty little piece, and I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.